Hello, this is a short video tutorial on adding service contacts to the public list and using the public list as part of the service process in Odyssey File and Serve. There will be two parts to this video. The first part will demonstrate how to create a new firm service contact and add it to the public service contacts list. And the second part will demonstrate how to serve opposing parties by selecting their service contacts from the public list when using either the file and serve function or the serve only function. A firm administrator or any user within the firm can add a service contact to the list of firm service contacts. And when you create it, you can also add that contact to the public list so that it will be available for other filers to select for service. It's worth mentioning that all users have an obligation under the 2020 Vermont Rules of Electronic Filing to create service contacts and keep them updated. This obligation is met by following the steps I will show to create a service contact and add it to the public list. And these steps may be completed by attorneys themselves or by firm administrators. This should be done for every attorney immediately upon registering and beginning to use the e-filing system. There is no obligation at this time for attorneys to manually add themselves as service contacts individually onto each of their own cases in the system. To create a new firm service contact and add it to the public list, you'll need to be logged into your Odyssey File and Serve account. And from the Actions menu on the dashboard, you would select Firm Service Contacts. You'll see a list of existing firm service contacts, if any have already been created. Especially if you're part of a large firm or organization, it's important to verify that the service contact you're about to create does not already exist. If it does exist and you want to add a different email address or change other information, you do not need to create a new separate service contact, but rather you can edit the existing one by clicking directly on it to open it up, and you can edit any of the information there and save the changes. To add a new service contact, click the Add Service Contact button in the upper right. The required fields are outlined in red, and they are just first name, last name, and email address, but it's recommended that you complete all the fields or as many as possible to provide full information about the service contact. In the administrative copy field, you can add additional email addresses for other recipients, such as admins, paralegals, others within your firm or organization, who will then also receive a copy of service whenever the service contact is selected on a filing by an opposing party. Importantly, before saving a newly created service contact, make sure to check the box on the lower left that says make this contact public. This will add it to the public list so that it will be available for other filers to select as needed when they're filing into them. And when you're not already listed as a service contact on them. Then click Save, and the new service contact is now in your list of firm service contacts and will also be available on the public list. You can edit this service contact info or delete it at any time by going back to your list of firm service contacts and clicking on the one you want to edit, as I just showed a moment ago. You can also delete it if necessary by clicking on the Actions dropdown and saying Delete Contact. You can also replace one service contact with another by selecting Replace Contact. This might be an efficient approach if one attorney is going to take over another attorney's entire caseload. This will replace them as the service contact on any cases in which the original one was listed. To serve an opposing party when submitting a filing to the court, you can add them to the case as a service contact for an opposing party by selecting them from the public list. In this example, I'm submitting a motion into this existing criminal case. I've selected e-file and serve, which is essential to be able to use the e-service function. Note that the default setting is just e-file, so this is something you'll have to manually select each time you're submitting a filing and want to serve it on another party. The third option that could be chosen is just serve only, which would be used if I wanted to electronically serve something on an opposing party, but not actually file it with the court, such as interrogatories, for example. So I've selected my filing code. I've added a filing description. I've put in a courtesy copy to go to an admin in my firm. I've uploaded the document that I'm filing. The security level is set for that document. And so when I save the changes to complete the filing section, it's going to take me to the service contacts section here. I can see that I've already been added in the course of a previous filing from the public list as a service contact for my client, Mr. Simpson. However, there's no service contact listed for the state's attorney upon whom I want to serve my filing, so I will need to add that SA as a service recipient by finding and selecting them from the public list. It's important to understand that once selected and added to a case, a service contact will remain on the case until or unless they are removed. So if you get to the service section of your filing and see that the right service contact is already added to the right party, you do not need to add them again, but just make sure that the checkbox next to their name is checked to indicate that they should be served on the file. If you see an incorrect service contact on the case or one whom you do not want to send service on this filing for any reason, you do not need to remove the contact entirely, but just uncheck the box next to their name to avoid having anything sent to them. Now, because there's no contact currently selected for the state's attorney, as I submit this filing, I'm going to add them from the public list. To do this, I'm going to select the actions drop down to the right of that party and select add from public list. The public list will appear. I'm in the stage / testing environment right now, so these are a mixture of fake entities and some real ones, but you will see actual attorneys and service contacts in the live environment. I can search for the person I need to serve using any one or more of these 4 available fields: first name, last name, email, or firm address. At this time, the public list in the live environment contains a fair number of duplicate service contact entries that are a result of it being populated not only with new contacts created in the way I've shown, but also with service contacts that were created by multiple system users after e-filing went live in the Windsor, Windham, and Orange regions, but before this public list functionality was actually implemented. So we recognize this presents a bit of a challenge for users trying to select the appropriate recipient for service, since some of the duplicate contacts were entered by opposing filers and not by the service recipients themselves. This is why the list may appear to show the same attorney listed as being associated with multiple different firms and organizations. What you're seeing in this firm column is not actually the firm or organization with which the person is associated, but rather the firm that originally created the service contact, which in some case was an opposing attorney or firm in a prior filing. Even if some of the duplicate entries have all the correct email, addresses listed for the person, it does not mean that they are all the same and that choosing one at random would be fine, because as shown earlier, each service contact may also include one or more additional email addresses for administrative copies to admins, paralegals, or others that the service recipient wants and needs to be copied on incoming filings. These administrative copy email addresses are part of the service contact, even though they do not display here on the public list. Therefore, if you encounter duplicate service contacts, it's important to select the one which was actually entered by the recipient themselves and not by an opposing party. The tool you can use to check and verify this is to click the small I on the right side here, this icon, which will tell you the information about the person or organization that actually added the service contact. So you want to make sure you're selecting the one that was actually added by the attorney or organization that you want it to go to. It's worth stating again, the judiciary acknowledges the imperfect nature of this current situation with these duplicate service contacts, and we're actively engaged with the system vendor to develop a solution to remove them and minimize or prevent their reappearance. More globally, as we continue the statewide implementation of the new systems, including Odyssey File and Serve, we're continually revisiting and refining all these business processes and policies. And the intention is to keep working collaboratively with the bar and other stakeholders on issues around service contacts and the electronic service process overall, and to arrive together at the best possible long-term approach. So again, this video is intended to give practical guidance to users of the system right now during this implementation phase with the tools and configurations that are in place at the moment, with the understanding that everything is still in a transitional state and may be subject to further policy revisions and further refinements of the rules and business processes. So to complete the process of selecting and adding a service contact, I search for and select the attorney that I need. So I'm going to find Johnny Lawyer here, who is the state's attorney in my test filing. And when I find the right one, I select him and save it. And that service contact is now added to the case. As mentioned earlier, on the left side, the default setting is for all service contacts to be checked, which means they will be served. You'll need to manually uncheck any listed service contacts that you do not want to serve on this particular filing. So I could uncheck myself here since I don't need to serve myself with this filing. Then I can go ahead and complete the filing with the payment accounts and the submission agreement. And when I submit it and the court accepts it, the selected service contacts will be electronically served with the documents.